A lot different training camps. He will receive another stipend from USA Wrestling, and it's just a huge win all around to come back from losing in the semifinals and wrestle all the way back and take true third place. Great job, Jimmy Kennedy.
Absolutely. So with that, we will move up to 74 kilos for our next true third bout. It'll be Andrew Howe and Andrew Howe and David Taylor.
This is a rematch of the U.S. Open Finals.
It is a rematch of the U.S. Open Finals, won by David Taylor, 2-0 over Andrew Howe. Remember, Howe was in deep on that single leg at the end of that match, unable to finish.
And what's crazy is we've seen two completely different wrestlers this tournament. I don't think that we're seeing the same David Taylor that we saw a few months ago, as you saw Kyle Dake really took it to him 8-2 earlier in this tournament. But you've seen a really tough Andrew Howe as he had a really close bout, almost getting Kyle Dake earlier with that single leg up in the air at the end, just about finished, and then he put a pretty big beat down on Anthony Valencia in the semifinals, a consolation bracket, and got double-legged right off the bat and then scored about like 10, 12 points and just wore out on Anthony Valencia. So this is going to be fun to watch right here, and this is for true third and a spot on the national team.
And these two have been in this scenario before 2 years ago. In 2013, wrestled for true third, and it was David Taylor coming out on top by tech fall. It's kind of funny. We had the Burrows first, Dake second, and these two wrestling for third. And again, we'll see that rematch. And Howe comes out immediately working heavy on the head.
If you're Andrew Howe, Richard, what do you have to do to change up from the U.S. Open when these tech guys wrestle?
Well, you know, Howe, he's got to stick to his game plan, stick to his guns, and do what he does well, and neutralize Taylor's offense by banging on the head, holding his head. You'll see he'll pull him down, try to get a front headlock. And Taylor's going to want to open it up more, be more offensive. Taylor was able to get the early takedown at the U.S. Open and does so again here in the first 30 seconds, gets a takedown. He'll take the 2-0 lead.
Yeah, you saw David Taylor, he gets to that single leg, comes up to his seatbelt, and he threw that far leg in all the way around. And a lot of times you think that could be dangerous, but David Taylor does that a lot. He throws that far leg in and is able to break Andrew Howe down. And that's a really good spot to get a guy down from that tripod position when a guy's holding off, as Taylor's able to do it this time to Howe.
And Howe back to what he does best. He's over the head, really working on the head, tiring you out. Wants to take advantage of that in the later stages of the match. It's Taylor controlling the center of the mat and pushing forward now, halfway through the first period. And, you know, eerily reminiscent of the U.S. Open final. It's been about the exact same. Points on the board, style of the match. Inside trip from Andrew Howe. Don't see that too often, and David Taylor capitalizes, counters, and goes for the takedown of his own. I mean, you gotta like it from Howe that he's leaving it all out there. I don't know that early in the match if it's his best strategy to go to, but.
Yeah, and that's not something you see often from Andrew Howe. That wasn't something that we've really seen ever from Andrew Howe, actually. I don't know if I've ever seen him try for that inside trip, but he goes for it, and if he would convert it on it, we would be screaming and yelling for him, but he doesn't convert on it, and Taylor's able to get it, so you got to question Howe a little on that inside trip attempt, though.
And how he goes underhook. He's trying to pick up his offense a little bit. He doesn't want to hang back and have to steal it at the end. And on the shot attempt now, he posts up, and Taylor scrambles with it, has the cradle locked up. He's going to get 2 points going out of bounds, and now it's 6-0 in favor of David Taylor. 18 seconds left in the first, and Taylor starting to open things up a little bit. And this is not the style of match Andrew Howe wants to be in.
It looks like we're going to go into this second period. David Taylor leading Andrew Howe 6-0. And you have to think, if you're Andrew Howe, what changes are you going to make? And I do remember, though, last match Andrew Howe wrestled with Anthony Valencia, it was the same kind of thing. Valencia came out, blast doubled him a few times, really controlled the pace, controlled everything. And Howe, more of a second period wrestler where he can wear and tear on guys, was able to come back and really turn the tides on Anthony Valencia. And let's see if he can do the same thing to David Taylor and turn the tides here and make it 6-0 into 10-0 real quick.
Yeah, absolutely going to be a lot tougher against a guy like David Taylor who has this experience. And, you know, being ahead 6-0, he knows he doesn't have to push the pace, have to do anything wild and crazy to come out on top in this match. The onus is on Andrew Howe. But first things first for Howe, you just got to get some points on the board, get something going your way before you can think. You can't score 6 points at once.
And that's really what he did versus Valencia, was he chipped away. He got a push out here. Next thing you know, it was 6-3, and then he's able to strike back. So let's see if he can get this. Next score is going to be crucial. Either it's a 6-1, 6-2 match, or it's an 8-0 match.
So we've seen about a minute tick down in this second period. More of an Andrew Howe paced second period, but again, David Taylor not going to need to do much in the way of offense. It's all going to be on Howe to put the pressure on Taylor moving forward, and Howe is just having a hard time offensively getting anything going on David Taylor. And I think you're seeing the size of David Taylor by a length perspective and a distance perspective, really giving him the advantage here. And Howe having to force the pace is not what he wants to do. A minute and a half to go. Outside shot attempt from Howe, countered well by Taylor. Taylor on his heels a little bit. He's backing up, giving ground.
Yeah, these next 25 seconds, it's going to be key for Andrew Howe if he's going to want to start this comeback. And there he goes, right as I'm talking about. He gets into that high crotch single leg, and David Taylor scoots back around and creates a scramble position out of it. And it looks like he could make this into a stalemate, and that's not good for Andrew Howe. But David Taylor jumps over the back, looks for a far ankle, and he's just going to hold their way for a stalemate. And that's not what you want if you're Andrew Howe. You get him that deep, he would obviously want to finish that and score those points. And David Taylor doing a real good job of stepping over, coming around, and getting back to that far ankle, creating a scramble, able to get into that stalemate.
Well, Andrew Howe has historically had a hard time finishing on David Taylor. Taylor obviously shut him out the last couple times they've wrestled. So at this point, you need the haymaker for Andrew Howe. Gonna have to lock up a multiple turn scenario or get the fall.
Or maybe that inside trip we saw earlier.
Howe again on the shot. Single leg finish. Taylor's gonna hop over again. Time will wind down. David Taylor going to take it over Andrew Howe, 6-0. And not what he wanted, but a nice way to finish the tournament for David Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's going to be your third place over.